Thank you. Okay, now it looks beautiful. We're ready to shoot now. Put on your beautiful face is always on.
I finished closing the door for you.
You did it wonderfully. What you doing, Mama?
I am getting the free version of the Enneagram, of also Wheels Reinvented, for the people that are doing the free version of Safehouse. So after these teachings in spiritual work, what exactly are we able to teach others? Trauma, healing, self-awareness, or is it different for each person in relation to their specific gifts? I obviously asked the universe for something more, and here you are. I guess I don't know what I asked for. Enlighten me, please, and thank you. Sure, no problem. So what you're meant to teach people is exactly what you're learning. So I'm not sure exactly what you're getting from Wheels Reinvented, hopefully a lot, but what Wheels Reinvented is how to clear core traumas. So you would be able to clear core traumas with anybody, and I teach you 7 different ways how to do this. So the recap on that is that we have the original completion process from the Rig Veda that you already learned. You have the completion process from like Teal Swan's style that we learned for the 2nd chakra. Inquiry, which is what you learned in the 3rd chakra. You just learned EFT tapping as well as grief recovery in the Anahata. In the Vishuddha, you learn a written process and how to do business coaching using the Vishuddha chakra. In Anya, you learn Gestalt therapy, and in the Sahasrara, you learned past life regression. So you can choose to use any of those with any of your people. A lot of people add this on to what they're already doing, but you're not here to teach like anybody else. You're here to teach like you. So, what do you love to do? What have you always been good at? What breaks your heart? Where all of those meet is where you find your purpose, and how you integrate trauma work into your purpose is the journey, if that's something that you want to do with people. The final call of Wheels Reinvented is Go Forth and Prosper, which is Go Forth and Conquer, which is where we teach you specifically how to monetize these tools. But all throughout the course, I've been opening up with the same prompt with everybody, telling you guys this is how I start my coaching sessions, the case study calls. So it's up to you. I love the Subodh Kriya so much. What are your thoughts on keeping it going past the 40 days? Also, can you share the link to the audio recording you use? Yes, of course. So Yogi Bhajan, who brought Subodh Kriya to the West, said don't ever do it for more than 40 days because it's just greedy. Throughout the workouts, we talk about some different things that you can do, but if you're loving Kundalini Yoga and you're a woman, I love the Kriya for being enchantingly beautiful is a really nice one to follow up because it's also 5 sets of 3 minutes each. It's very like core oriented. Doing something like Sat Kriya or something like that, something in the navel, helps to retain wealth. And Rama TV, rest in peace, Guru Jagat. I'm not sure what that's doing with her no longer alive, but it's amazing resources for Kundalini classes. So don't, a lot of people are like, Yogi Bhajan scandal, he fucked his students. Like, yeah, I did a lot of crazy shit, just about all gurus have. But like Rudy said, a cow has udders and also an asshole. Everybody that is here to nourish is also capable of making waste. So you decide what you want to be an expert on when it comes to spiritual teachers, their nourishment or their shit. Because your career is going to be an example of what you've chosen to take on from other teachers. And if you're choosing to take on the shit, then that's what you're going to be teaching, shit. But a lot of people get so like butthurt about their gurus. And I always say to them, wait for me, please. Them pouring the Kool-Aid won't change the fact that you drank it. So you're not mad at them. You're mad at yourself. Forgive yourself and move on. That way you'll get, you won't feel like you wasted your life, because nobody gets to a position of power with fucking cheap, shitty spiritual tools. So anybody that's made a successful career out of spirituality, no matter like how crazy things got, they had legit powers, or people would not have ever supported them getting to that degree. And some teachers that have like really, like I know Osho has insane scandals, Swami Nityananda insane scandals. I've learned so much from these people. And any scandal that ever comes out about me, I'm telling you right now, it's 50% true. Whatever it is, I don't even know. It hasn't even happened yet, but I already agree. Whatever it is, it's 50% true. So I get down with Yogi Bhajan. Don't let anyone shit on your good time. Actually, that's not true. I don't get down with Yogi Bhajan because I don't really understand what he's saying, but I really do get down with Kundalini Yoga, and I really got down with Guru Jagat. She was a friend of mine, so I miss her. If on the scale of octaves, a resonance and another do is sounded between those 2 points, do those notes then contain a full other octave? And if so, when does that stop? Is it infinite? So yes, yes, and yes. All creations, from the macrocosm to the microcosm, are octaves. So the note do is an octave. And this is really like evident on the Enneagram and the Enneagram workshop, which you have access to in your Safehouse subscription. When you're doing Mesoterica, the new free workshop, first call of that is on Thursday. You guys will be watching this on Friday, so it was yesterday. But you can pick like what rerun you want to watch in between. You can either start the Enneagram or School of Unified Spiritual Laws based on whatever's more interesting to you. I wouldn't recommend cramming too much, but yes, it really does go infinitely. And on the Enneagram, it's really easy to see as we unpack each stop on the Enneagram how there's like a whole octave that has to take place. Now, people, I taught this to 50 people in our case study group, and so people were kind of like spiraling out. They're like, oh my, I'm getting lost in the octaves, and we always kind of had to bring it back to the center. So as you're beginning, it might be easier for you to just focus on one octave at a time, but understand that in between the notes mi and fa, and in between the notes si and do, in the simplest term, those of people on Enneagram will understand a next level to infinite next level to all of these things. But in between the note mi and fa, and in between the notes si and do, an entire side octave will need to be completed in order to complete the mission. So let's say that your book, writing the Enneagram, the octave of writing a book. In between the notes mi and fa, you would have to complete a whole side octave, for example, creating a book proposal. And then before the book is completed at si and do, you would need to find a publisher or find the publishing route that works for you. This is in like the most simplest terms. Also important to know that in between mi and fa and in between si and do, you're always going to want to give up. And then even deeper on the Enneagram, because we understand how all these things work together, anytime you're nearing a shock point, you're going to feel like this whole mission is slipping away from you. You feel like the whole mission is slipping away from you. Maybe it was a bad idea. I can't write a fucking book proposal. No one's going to want to publish my book. Just keep going. That's natural. It's a part of growth and a part of creation. But yes, it absolutely does go into infinity. And that's something that I really enjoy about Fourth Way, is that it's actually quite possible to calculate infinity. And the short answer of that is what they say in I guess it's in Hindu, but I also heard it in Sufi. Brahma breathes in and out the universe. So one breath cycle for God is all of existence. All of existence, the knowable and unknowable universe, all of this is somewhere in between one inhale and one exhale of the absolute. So let's go to the next question, will we?
All right.
Can I ask you a dream question? Yes, but here's what, because I can see that it's about me, and I'm just going to give PSA to everybody. If someone sends you a dream about you, understand that it's 100% their symbol. It has nothing to do with you. It's not a premonition about you, nothing like that. It's not even when I had a premonition dream and was telling my boyfriend, I had a dream that you're going to die in 24 hours. It didn't change anything whatsoever. His mind was already made up to relapse that day, and there was no shifting or changing it. You don't ever have to get a dream to somebody. It's not about them. It's a warning. That was a warning for me. That was a symbol for me. That was an awakening for me. But let's go into it anyway. I had a dream that you and I were sitting cross-legged and facing each other. Your head was wrapped and you had big old hoop earrings and were wearing a light green halter top. The dream went to my POV and it's you up close repeating Ishtar over and over and over. So how you interpret dreams is, and honestly, I interpreted dreams a lot, like early in my career, and then my dreams really shifted. How I was dreaming like really shifted, and I just don't unpack them like that anymore. It's more like I understand them without needing to unpack it. If I ever have a dream that really fucks with me, I will I'll unpack it a little bit, but it honestly hasn't happened in like a year. But in the beginning, I got a lot from unpacking my dreams. So what you would do is you would write down these different symbolisms, these different symbols, because it's the emoji of your brain speaking to you. It's an emoji that only you understand. So you would say, okay, I am Onami, I am, and you would fill in that blank with whatever I am to you. It's a subjective translation. Then I am Ishtar, I am whatever that is to you. And don't go like look it up. Like if you don't know what Ishtar is at this moment, you say, I am a mysterious mantra, I am a whatever it is to you at this point. And then you retell the dream using the definition of these different symbols. And if you're wanting to recall your dreams more, weed and alcohol certainly don't help, but don't worry about writing down the whole dream in the morning. Just write down the symbols, and then when you have time, tell the dream to your journal. But you don't look up what these symbols mean, because turkeys don't mean fertility to everybody. It just means to some people. So it's really important to know what your emojis are saying to you. But I have definitely. Oh, cool. She says, I didn't know anything about Ishtar when I posted this question, just read up on her and my mind is blown. Yeah. Sometimes it's just showing you some like, that's really cool. That name, like it's obviously trying to get a hold of you. Obviously trying to get a hold of you. And maybe it's like the only reason that I was in the dream is because it's like, pay attention to your inner teacher. Pay attention to this message that you're getting. And I just think that that's really cool. I've had like a lot of spiritual experiences where they didn't make sense to me like in the moment. And I was like, oh, I'm just dreaming or fantasizing. I had a teacher told me, oh, it's a fantasy. And it really, it's like, oh, I guess it wasn't a vision of any kind. But it took 10 years, of me starting to catch up and finding the goddess where all of this was coming from. And then it's like all started to make a lot of sense at the time. So I think that's really cool. All right, next question. Super random, but I've been loving 90 Fiance right now. And a woman on the show was talking about how if you can't accept yourself, it's okay to change it. Really got me thinking about Anahata. What are your thoughts? I also just watched Empress lecture about desire and jewelry. I want lip fillers so bad. I mean, so this is a really great question, and thank you. If there's, I get it. I get it 100%. Like I learned how to love myself when I was like 20 pounds heavier than I am right now. And I was just like, oh, I'm so fat. Like I hate being, I care about looking good, like a lot. And even though I learned how to love myself when I was fat, and that was like and it's sorry if that word triggers you, but like, I got to talk to you just how I would talk to like one of my girlfriends. I was just like super uncomfortable. And when I set out to change it, like I've learned so much about becoming somebody that takes better care of themselves, that prioritizes exercise. Like I really didn't want to exercise today, but I was so happy that I did. And I was really happy that I didn't just like accept it. And I'm tempted to all the time. Like I probably like hit my workouts and eat clean really well for a while. And then I get mad. I'm like, I shouldn't have to do this, like this is fucked up. But discipline has brought a lot to my life. Something that I would recommend you reading before you go for lip filler or whatever. You don't read a whole book before you get lip filler. You can always get it dissolved if you don't want it. But the book Psycho-Cybernetics was written by a plastic surgeon, and it's an amazing book. And it's about how plastic surgery doesn't change self-image. Like it literally doesn't change how you see yourself. Like you'll see yourself the same no matter how like much plastic surgery you get. And it's a really awesome book. It's not a book about not getting plastic surgery. It's a book about upgrading your self-image internally. It's like literally like a manuscript for so many top tier coaches. It's Psycho-Cybernetics, it's called. It's an amazing book. But it's a really, really good read. And here's just one thing I'm going to tell you. If you haven't noticed about like fashion trends, it's always extremes. And so like, let's talk about eyebrows. Like for a while there, let's say maybe 10 years or whatever, the trend was really, really thick eyebrows. And then after that, the trend was like bleach blonde eyebrows. So like no eyebrows, from really, really thick eyebrows to no eyebrows, because every trend creates like an equal and opposite reaction. Now it's really, really thin 90s brows is in trend. And then once everybody catches on to that trend, it's going to be, you know, thick ass brows or unibrow, like all over again, because this is just how trends work. And right now, I would actually say that this trend is aging out really fast. The trend used to be very like BBL, plastic, fake body, plastic surgery, everything like that. This trend has been around for a while, but it's like quickly phasing out. And as so many more people start to adopt this like stock beauty look, what people are going to be really attracted to is any form of even outright ugliness and imperfections that make you not look like everybody else, because beauty is always considered to be what's different than how everyone else is. And when people are editing their features bit by bit, everybody with the lip, everybody with the certain nose, everybody with the certain eyebrows, you crave what's different, because that's just how it works. It's craving something different. So it's a trend, and it's lip fillers are one that you can dissolve. So fucking live your life, queen. If you really want it, go and get it. It's not like you can do whatever you want in life. You can do whatever you want. And it's not like getting a BBL or something where it's a super, super long recovery or whatever. You can be out and about later on. You're going to look like everybody else online, but live your life, queen. Do what you want. All right, let's hit a quick word from our sponsors. The sponsors today is actually the free version of Safehouse. Every single day, adding more preview content to that. Mesoterica is exclusively on the free version of the app. You can become a member of our app at any point by going to the App Store, downloading the app Safehouse Global, going to Discover, creating yourself a free account, and looking around. We have Q&A on there until the 27th of April. And if you're wondering where to get started, it's literally so easy. I just put up our intake form. Where to get started, you can fill out a pie of life like these people are doing now, and I will get you your homework. Or if you're shy, there's a cheat sheet so you can get the homework yourself. So for my girl here, I am going to call you guys by your initials, SC. For you, we're going to have you do Breaking Broke 2.0 first. If you haven't done that yet, Breaking Broke 2.0, just acknowledging that the 4 lowest points are where you need to work the most. But Breaking Broke 2.0 is going to handle your money, your business, your strategy, and your creative flow, all of that. And then as far as romance and style, the two are definitely linked. So don't ever go out and buy clothes when you want to upgrade your style. Start with a specific vision of what it is, what kind of look you're going for, because there's nothing worse than buying disconnected items. And my favorite, I'm a professional online shopper because I can get exactly what I want. I could never go into a thrift store now because I end up buying something that I'm like, oh, this is good, but it wasn't something that I had intended. It wasn't a part of my look. But for an online thrift store, and Poshmark is my personal favorite one, I can find exactly what it is that I'm looking for, usually several options, and this isn't an ad, but like I said, I'm a professional online shopper, and that one's my favorite. And as far as romance, you need to go and do exactly the things that you like to do, not go to anything that you don't want to do, because you want to meet somebody that likes to do the same things that you like to do. And if you don't like getting fucked up on a Friday night, then don't go to a bar on a Friday night. If you like going hiking on a Saturday morning, that's where you're going to meet someone that's aligned with that. And if you do like getting fucked up in a bar on Friday night, then by all means go, and you will meet so many other people that want to do that with you. But I bring up the bar thing because like raising your standards for when it comes to other people's vices, I was so happy that I raised my standard to like, I just don't want to deal with a fucking drunk boyfriend ever again, because I didn't drink anymore. Even though I was only 2 months sober, I was like, I'm never going to get sober if I have a boyfriend that drinks. So I upped my standards to include sober. And the look on my husband's face when he first met me, and I said, well, I don't drink, so if you want, and he was like, I don't drink either. All right, initials EB. EB, we're going to have you working money, strategy, creative flow, Breaking Broke 2.0 as soon as possible. Now, if you're like, I already did Breaking Broke 2.0 and I don't have a vision or a strategy, it's because there was one lesson that you don't want to take seriously. What's for sale? How many do you need to sell to make that money? I'm not sure if you've done this or not, but like you will have a vision, you will have a strategy, you will have business tools, and the money will start to flow, but you have to take action. What's for sale? How many need to be sold to reach that goal? Anything else that you want? Romance, same for you. We're going to have you going out and doing the things that you like to do. Don't worry if it's a weird time thing. At the time, I was leaving my house from literally like 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning, and then I'd be at home for the rest of the day because it's hot as fuck in Texas. 5 to 7, I'd go swimming. I've hardly ever seen my husband awake before 8 a.m., but I met him at 7 a.m. at Brighton Springs
I felt like I needed to go swimming in the morning.
Swimming in my pussy.
we got there.
Okay.
Quickly.
For initials JW, she's working boundaries, spiritual education, and business. So what we're going to have you do, cracking codependency for boundaries, is essential. You might be mad at me for a few months afterwards, but like it'll work. Erotic wealth is also heavy on the boundaries and if you're not doing it with a partner, autoerotic wealth do the same thing. Heavy on the boundaries, that comes out July 27th. For spiritual education, Mesoterica has you covered. Don't bother with the School of Unified Spiritual Laws or anything. Mesoterica's got you covered, and that starts tomorrow.
So when I first invited you over to my trailer,
I didn't want to go. It took a couple tries.
and did you enjoy yourself?
I did not. Never had a good time at your house.
Not when I stuck you with an EpiPen? Oh, no, you
stuck me
yourself.
with a baby.
That's
so when one of the first, so I had like a 3-bedroom house that I was like paying out, the 2-bedroom house that I was like paying out the walls for, but it was all mine. And Magic lived on a compound with, a bunch of other people. And he lived in a trailer, and he was like, "You gotta come over to my trailer." And I was like, "Why don't you just stay at my house instead? We can eat avocados or some shit." But I was smoking a lot of weed at the time, and so I went over to his house. I was like so stoned in his bed, and he's like, "I got something to show you." I was like, "Fuck yeah." And he goes into his like camper fridge, and he pulls out this bag. It's like Costco brand, like Welch's gummy snacks, like little things of gummy. Gummy's a huge bag of them, and I was like, "Oh fuck yeah, I'm about to fucking make some noise up in here." And he goes to me, so gross. He goes, "Close your eyes and put out your hand." I would put my mouth out if he fucking told me to close my eyes. I was like, hell yeah, I was like, this fucking guy was surprised, like I could already see what it was. I closed my eyes and he put something in my hand. And he's like, "Open your eyes." I look at it's a fucking fox's foot, but like not like a fox foot keychain or like something clean like that. It was literally like a severed foot of a fucking, yeah, and I didn't even know it was a fox. He told me, and I'm expecting with my whole heart, like manifesting fucking gummy snacks, and it's all like, what? And he's like, "It's a fox." And I didn't know what to say, I was like, this kind of makes me sad. I have to put him away. But it's my fault because the very first time I went over to your house for dinner, you were like, "Oh," in the middle of eating something. I was like, "What's he doing?" And he's like, just picks up a big cockroach off of the ground and is like, "Oh, I'm going to feed this to the little baby chicks," that he had in like a box in the corner. And I was trying to impress him. So I was like, "Let's catch bugs." Nowadays, I'd be like, under no circumstances am I touching the bug, but I was trying to impress. So I think then I was doing it for his approval. I didn't know that I didn't need to try so hard with him. And I could actually just be a real bitch and he would like it. But I think that it was because of the little cockroach game. I played cockroaches with you that one time. And then you were putting severed limbs into my hands after that.
Yeah. I was excited to share.
Yeah, my knot gummies.
Yeah.
Yep. And I had said, like, so specifically, like, I'm never going to date a broke guy again, because I was just so sick of, like, hearing, like, can't afford it. And I knew that, like, it's really easy to make money, but when people are attached to being poor, like, that's really hard to get. When people are, like, in love with, like, being poor. And you weren't even poor. You just, like, literally didn't give a shit about money or shoes or anything.
Yeah, that was the mentality over at the compound.
Yeah, because you were like, it was on the spiritual path you were on at the time. You weren't allowed to look at or talk about money at all. You know, you guys were getting paid in fucking tobacco.
Yeah.
So.
Couldn't ask for money. Well, you could ask other people for money.
But you had really like big beliefs too about like the, because remember you were like you told me about that sweat lodge where all the people died in it, and you were like, that's what happens when you charge for sweat lodge. And I was like, ooh, like shit, you know.
Yeah, well, that was some hokey pokey shit.
What tribe is that?
That was just some guy doing a thing out in Sedona.
Oh yeah. All right, go ahead.
Go ahead, what?
Be all done.
Would you ever make Mesoterica shirts? Because damn.
You know, thank you for asking. There was a time when I was going to do merch, mainly just because there was crop tops I really wanted with my own like words and stuff on it. But when you guys get to Erotic Wealth, we talk about something called the hedgehog concept, which is really about like focusing in on what it is that you can be the best at and what it is that you cannot be the best at, and really like organizing your resources to the places where you can be the best, and letting the places where you can't be the best go. So like merch was an easy one for me, although it was definitely on the board for a long time. Something that wasn't so easy to let go of was like doing retreats, having a music festival, things like that that are more closely associated with people in my field. What we chose as our hedgehog concept was digital education, because your hedgehog concept, and this comes from a book called Good to Great by Jim Collins, but it's really about what it is that you can be the best at, what it is that you're extremely passionate about, and what, this is different than what he says, but I find it works better, what your favorite kind of money to make is. So, and this is the concept that will take your business to the stars when it's time to scale it. So what I can be the best at is digital education. I can absolutely make the best quality digital workshops with the highest results, 100%. What I'm also very passionate about is digital education. Now, I might be able to make the best shirts or be the best one-on-one coach, but I'm not passionate about one-on-one coaching in the same way, and I'm not passionate about shirts and retreats in the same way. I'm extremely passionate about digital education, and I also can be the best at it. And then what my favorite kind of money to make is subscriptions. And I could never make subscription money on one-on-one coaching or on retreats or anything like that. But by waiting and instead of releasing my workshops one by one, organizing them into a bundle and selling it as a subscription, I can satisfy all of those areas of my life. So every business that's really stood the test of time has a hedgehog concept. And we go into that in Erotic Wealth at Module 2. Thank you for your question. I know you were just complimenting me, but you never get a short answer with me unless the answer is no. Mm-hmm. And even so, the answer was no, and I guess you just never get a short answer.
Thank you.
It's like reading deeply into every single thing, but everything is an opportunity for learning, right?
You're right. Mm-hmm. Action.
This one's gonna be a song. This question says, can you You talk about healing every sexual encounter that was only a yes, 'cause it was easier than no. How do you heal each instance? Is it a matter of revisiting every memory and making peace with it? No, you can do them as they come up. 'Cause as you're on the road to healing your second chakra, some shit's gonna come up. You're gonna be self-pleasuring and a memory comes up of some cringy sex that you had once. And in that moment you can heal it. And to heal it, you really gotta feel it. But you don't need to sit down with your journal and try to heal sexual trauma. Believe me, it'll come and be a pain in your ass. But if you know how to fix it, you can. Just acknowledge that you said it yes because it was easier than saying no. And it makes like your number one thing you need to know how to do, which is say no to people, so much easier because you'll remember, oof, all these times I just let them grunt on top of me because I didn't want to say I don't fucking feel like it. That really sucked for me. So I'm going to say no, lots easier. And when somebody's asking you to say yes to something because it would be nice for them, you can just imagine them, oh, beautiful song, grunting and sweating on top of you and be like, that's not my thing. Thanks for asking. Yes? Okay. Now it's my tiny toothbrush song. Do you ever Zoom with the client one-on-one? No. Unless they're a private client, which I only take once every 2 or 3 years, it's a no. But if you do think like wheels reinvented, there's an opportunity to talk with me. And it's basically like being one-on-one if you ignore the crowd.
Thank you. Hey, how do you keep such a clean house? All right, Mama, so we're talking about the mind here.
Who are you talking about the mind? Okay, go ahead.
So how can I be like, oh, I know what you're doing, and we're not doing it anymore sooner, before I start feeling like I'm in the wrong for it to be taking so long? Is it just a matter of practice because I'm getting better, but I feel like there has to be an easier way?
Yo, you are never in the wrong for learning. Like, you're never in the wrong for learning, for real. Like, look, this is me. We were doing the Mesoterica the other day, writing down negative thoughts in our mind. I had all these fucking negative thoughts in my mind, but I'm doing the work. Yesterday, I was also having like a terrible day because it was the first day of my period, and I had like categorized it at everything but a physical thing. I'm like, why do I feel so bad? It's like just on my period. But I had to go and tap. I felt shitty for a while, and I had to go and tap. And it's not about overcoming all of your problems, it's about having the tools to overcome your problems and remembering to use it. And every day you get better. Every day you get faster. Every day you're making progress. Before enlightenment, you'll chop wood and carry water. After enlightenment, you're going to chop wood and carry water. What the chopping wood is finding the spiritual tools. And what the carrying the water is getting faster and faster at applying them. So, think about how long it took for you to realize that the mind was even talking to you in the first place. Now you're getting that took, however many years. Now it takes what? A couple days, couple hours to get your mind to do what you wanted to. That's progress. Celebrate your progress. Daily wins. That's the spot for you. I think Wiley's crying.